generally what a normal user is, what they do is they create one username and one password for several applications, right? It's a normal human tendency. Now let's suppose one condition: if a attacker is able to get hold on your username and password by hacking one application, he will be able to access your whole application, right? So we must, as a developer, we must uh, avoid this kind of mistakes. For avoiding this kind of mistakes, what we can do, we can suggest the user that use the complex password. Generally we saw in our saw in the application, right? They suggest you some encrypted passwords. So this is the way to prevent this broken authentication. There is a one more condition that normally if a user is logged into a web application, if he all of a sudden if he close the tab, he's if he close the tab, then also the user is logged in into the application. If the attacker get access and reopen the tab, he will able to use all of your details, right? So as a developer, what we can do is that we must keep in the mind that if the user close the tab, though he is logged in, he must be logged out if he close the recent tab, right? If he open the tab again, then he must do the login again, right? So to prevent these things, we have to be prepared for this one. Now the next thing is sensitive data exposure. Now nowadays while creating an account on web application, we give username and password. That details must be encrypted. That details must be stored in the database as an encrypted format, right? uh, so that the hacker does not get the control over the data. Even if he get the control over the data, he doesn't know what is the actual password and actual username, right?
So are you storing your password in encrypted format?
Sorry, sir. XML external entities. Now nowadays we are using JSON format to send data from client to server, but in the past normally we use XML format to send the data from client to server. Now there is a concept of DTD, which is stand for document type definition, in which we can be able to access hold the external entities also, and that external entities can hold external files, external URLs. Now let's suppose that entity can hold external files. What if a attacker able to append external malicious entity to a external to an entity, and that entity will go to the backend side, and then the XML parcel will simply pass that entity, and that maybe give a loophole to hack the server. So what we can do is to we should block the external entities, right? But nowadays it's not a quite common. We use JSON format to communicate for the communication, right? Now coming to the next topic, it's broken access control. Now let's we all know that a website has a different roles, like a user, admin. A user is someone who can access only his or her data, but the admin is someone who can access the data of everyone, like he can manage the data, right? Now as a developer, what we have to keep in the mind that if I am designing some backend code for a user, then that user must be only able to access his or her data only. He cannot be interfere or cannot update the other users data, right? So we have to keep it in the mind also. Now coming to the next, security misconfiguration. Now as we are developing our project, we know that we have to use some external servers also, like database server or Apache server. Now each and every server has their some default settings, right? So default settings may be also known by the hacker also, and for in better approach, what we have to do, we have to change the default settings, so that hacker does not know, like default settings like port number, on which port number our application is running. So we have to change those default settings, right? As we know that Apache is running, Apache runs on 8080, so we have to change the port numbers also. Now there is another concept like cross-site scripting. It is basically similar as man-in-middle attack. You must, I believe you all know what is man-in-middle attack. Basically, a attacker will send you a malicious script to the client, and now that script is look similar to a authenticate web application homepage. If a user get fooled and enters the details like username or a password and click enter, like click to login, the attacker will hold your username and password. This will lead to a attack. So server side scripting should must be avoided. Just like example, we heard that there is a attack in which is very common, that attacker are sending the Facebook login page, fake Facebook login page, and the user thought that these homepage are real and genuine. They enter the user details and password and try to enter, but their account get hacked, right? Insecure decentralization. Now, as I mentioned that JSON is the most common format to send data from client to server. Now the JSON, what is happening that JSON is serialized to bytecode, and then that bytecode is sent towards the server, and on the server side that bytecode is getting deserialized and then executed by the server, right? So there can be a chance that attacker can send a malicious bytecode to the server, and the server simply deserialize it, and there may be a chance that the server get attacked, right? So the deserialization must be secure, right? Now the next topic is using component with known vulnerabilities. Now, as I mentioned that we are using the servers like Apache and MySQL. Now these kind of servers are having are have they have some